Two local entrepreneurs have developed a world-first investment mechanism that combines traditional tax-efficient investments and the power of cryptocurrency. Yes, the investment offers heightened returns, is SARS-backed and is approved by the Financial Services Board. Aziza Coin is unique in that it is backed by a $100 million asset in the form of an oil as well as gas concession located in Southern Africa. For more on this story, we're very pleased to welcome Mr. Shakes Motsilili, the SA co-founder of Aziza Coin. A very good morning to you, Shakes. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Well, Shakes, let me first get the understanding of this. Maybe for the benefit of our viewers, please explain to them, what is this trend of cryptocurrency?
Well, initially, what most people I would know, I would say the most well-known cryptocurrency is what is called Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And it came into being as an alternative currency, was a method of exchange. So I would give you a Bitcoin and you gave me a good, much similar to fiat currency, the rands we use or the dollars or whatever. However, in recent times, cryptocurrencies that have been launched, as well as what is called an ICO, an initial coin offering, which is much similar to an initial public offering when a company lists on an exchange.
Okay.
So cryptocurrencies list on exchanges in what is called an ICO. These are now used mostly to fundraise for business ideas or business plans, as it were. So our coin, and this is what maybe is most important to mention, is not trying to replace currencies, not at all. We've got a business idea and a plan, and we're using the current cryptocurrency space and boom to fundraise for a particular business idea.
So, I mean, how different is Aziza Coin then from Bitcoin?
Well, look, the reason they all call cryptocurrencies is the base, the blockchain base, which is...
it's virtual currency.
Yes, well, a blockchain is sort of a ledger system, in simple terms, that keeps record of transactions.
Okay.
It is, in the reason it's become so popular is that it's out there on the web, everybody has line of sight, it's disintermediated, and the whole purpose is for it to be unchangeable and unhackable. So that is the base. But on top of that, you get a launch of a cryptocurrency, in our case, Aziza Coin, which is quite different to Bitcoin. As I mentioned earlier, you would not use the Aziza Coin to trade for goods as you would with a Bitcoin. In essence, I would liken the Aziza Coin to a unit trust.
Okay.
The business plan and the reason we've launched Aziza is to obviously attract investment and in turn invest in small businesses.
Okay, so in turn that is your target market, the small businesses and so forth.
In terms of funding. So the Aziza Coin Foundation will raise funds and then in turn invest these funds in small to medium-sized enterprises. And there's logic to that. So if you, first of all, own an Aziza Coin, you are a beneficial owner of all of these a battery of assets, if I may put it that way.
Okay.
That's why I'm likening it to a unit trust.
Yeah.
And so what happens is, if some of these companies do well, indirectly you as the Aziza Coin holder also does well.
Okay.
And if I can just maybe go a little bit as to why we have this business plan. There's a huge problem of unemployment, especially, during the State of the Nation, the President mentioned that a little over 12 million, South Africans between 16 and 65 were without jobs. And that's a crisis.
It is,
and the challenge there is that big business, corporates are not the solution. If anything, they are in the business of mergers and acquisitions, efficiencies, they're downsizing. And government is also not. I'm sure you're aware of the current talks by the President to have a look at staffing in government departments. So they're overstaffed, in my opinion. And it's clear the solution is small to medium-sized enterprises that do create jobs. The problem is that money does not flow to these type of organizations because of their risk profile and risk levels, especially your pre-revenue concept stage startups get almost no funding. I think the the global percentage is like 0.02% of those type of businesses got funding in 2017, and I'm sure most of them were in the Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
You know, so our intention is through our mechanism is to direct funds to those really high potential type of businesses in terms of actually making an impact.
Is this in line,
jobs.
Shakes? I mean, we're talking about the president's State of the Nation address when he said that they're looking to find 1 million jobs. Is this something that you're also looking to assist in terms of employment?
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely, without a doubt. I think, and I applaud the president's remarks there.
Yeah.
The
Because I mean,
reality
he
is
called
that
on everybody, the private sector,
Yeah,
big business,
yeah.
small, everybody must come together. Yeah.
it will be mostly small to medium-sized enterprises that actually that will close that gap.
Mm-hmm.
And what is probably most terrifying is that at this point in time, I think the stat is 9 out of 10 pre-revenue startups fail within the first 2 years. So in the mechanism that we've created, we've also looked at how we can actually change that statistic and increase the probability of success.
Yeah.
And we do that via the Aziza Coin Foundation, where they offer what is called shared services. So what we've realized is, especially your high-end entrepreneurs, your techies, they just want to develop the product, you know, and they tend to be quite specifically gifted.
Yeah.
But for a successful business, you need a whole battery of skills around you, including human resource management,
true.
sales and marketing, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So what we've done is created what we've called shared services, and the Aziza Coin Foundation will get shareholding from a startup, right? And in return, provide shared services where they support the startup with financial management, et cetera, thus changing this traditional statistic of such a high failure rate.
That's great, hey?
Yeah.
Shakes, talk to us about this, because I want to, before I let you go, we don't have much time. I want to assure the people at home that this is safe, because there were rumors about, you know, virtual coins or currency not being tangible or not being safe. Now, your model is apparently approved by the bank, the Financial Services Board, and is backed by SARS. So it is quite safe. What does that mean?
Let me explain. There's two separate entities, right? There's also a company called Alumni Energy Investments, which I run. I'm a director of. It's a public unlisted entity. It's registered. It is a financial services provider with the Financial Services Board.
Okay.
Right. That's number one. On top of that, it has been given what is called venture capital company status by the South African Revenue Services. This is a status given under Section 12J of the Income Tax Act, right? And it is in the South African landscape, right? We use this vehicle to actually fund startups. So we collect funds from investors in South Africa into the venture capital company, Alumni Energy Investments, and in turn invest in startups.
That's good
that's
news.
The mechanism, yeah.
Very good news. So now, Shakes, who really qualifies to invest in your business?
Well, any South African taxpayer, right? And the reason thereof is Section 12J says that, and then I mean, it's forward thinking. It's one of the most generous tax dispensations in support of small businesses on the globe. But basically, if you put money to an approved venture capital company, as I mentioned, the total investment amount is deductible against your taxable income. So if you invest 100, to make it simple, and your taxable income is 1,000, you could, you know, deduct 100 and only be taxed on 900 rand.
Wow.
So the effect is that the government is subsidizing.
And that's a significant number. You know, it might not be much while we're saying it here, but it is. It makes a huge difference.
If you are on the highest tax rate, which is 45%, basically the government is paying 45 rand of every 100 rand that you invest. That is substantial, you know. And I think it is one of the mechanisms where government realizes the importance of channeling funds to small to medium-sized enterprises, and is quite forward-thinking.
Look, Shakes, I'm sure you come across people that say, but this sounds like such a complicated model and so forth. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I understand that you actually conducted a road show to advertise your initiative. How did that go? Were people warming up to the idea? Are they opening up? Is there a lot of education around this as an alternative?
No. We did have a road show. I have to be honest, it takes a bit of time for a person to wrap their heads around.
Absolutely.
The reality is that structured products in their nature are complex, you know, and as such, the majority of citizens do not invest in structured products.
And how do you shift that mindset that it's not just for the smart people to do business with?
I think for me, what I've noticed is like sort of the high net worths in the country, like your top 1-2%. They go out of their way to educate themselves on structured products.
Absolutely.
And what I would suggest is that each and every person, you know, every citizen should actually try and upskill themselves and read more. And it's not rocket science. It is, you know, once you...
Just like Forex trading. How many Forex traders do we have now? And
yeah,
all those people
it's increased.
actually,
Initially it seemed complex, but I think it's just a change of mindset. And the fact that structured products in their nature, even the minimum investments were sort of already excluding a lot of the population. People just didn't have interest or spend time upskilling themselves and understanding how they operate.
All right. So where can people get more information about Aziza Coin and everything that you do? Well,
Aziza Coin website, it's www.aziza.io. And we've got a wealth of info there. There's something called a white paper, which all cryptocurrencies publish, which sort of is sort of the explanation of the business plan and what the coin wants to achieve. We've got 2 forms, and because people differ, we've got an abridged and an unabridged form. So an abridged is like...
But do you teach your people before they undertake the coins that this is what this one does and so forth?
What happens is there's a little bit of self-education that's required. So what we encourage people to do is to go on our site, look at the resources. There's several, you know, interviews that I've done and things like that. They can like listen to things, they familiarize, read the white paper. We're not expecting that they'll understand everything in there. And then engage, because when they engage, people are at different points, at different points in time, you know, at different levels. So we prefer one-on-ones. Once someone has familiarized themselves, we then engage with them on a one-to-one basis. And then that's the most successful way that we've come to realize it is the best for them to understand our structure.
Shakes, thank you so much for spending a morning with us there, explaining to us about that great initiative. That is the SA co-founder of Aziza Coin, Mr. Shakes Motsilili, talking to us about a range of issues on how you can also be part of that investment. Go and find out on their website and find out more.